What's up, champ? This is Ryan, the author of Play Like a Champion, Sleep Like a Baby, and this is a message to my younger self. Let's talk about the willpower myth. And what that means to me is there's this idea that willpower is a finite resource. People think that you only have a limited amount of willpower, and that if you use it up by not eating McDonald's for breakfast, that it's going to make it harder for you to exercise discipline in the things that you'd like to exercise discipline in later in the day. You're gonna have to binge watch Netflix, or you're not gonna be able to make it to the gym. Just looking at my dog over here. He's acting up. But anyway, the point is that I completely reject this theory, and I don't care. There's a Harvard study that says that that willpower is a finite resource. I mean, okay, even if that's true, even if Harvard is the absolute, has the last word on the truth, just because it's a prestigious university and people know the name, regardless of who came up with it. I don't care if it's the UN, Harvard, your mother, your uncle, whatever. Even if that's the case, does that mean you're just going to let your life be dictated by some study or what somebody else said? Like, what I mean is, there's also the argument to be made that when you're exercising willpower is less like a finite resource and more like a muscle. And so anyone who has gained muscle, trained at all, knows that it takes consistent work to build the muscle. You got to exercise the muscle, right? And so similarly, if you're caught in a vortex, a doom loop where you're just you're bed rotting, you're watching TV 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, you're ordering DoorDash, you're, I don't know, watching porn, you're eating ice cream, I mean, whatever, pile on, smoking cigarettes, pile on all the things that you know you shouldn't be doing or are not ideal anyway. If you're in that type of state, it's going to be difficult. It's like being completely untrained and trying to go run a marathon. If you're going to suddenly try to fix your life and like, oh, Monday morning, I'm going to change everything and I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and then I'm going to walk with dogs and then I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to eat healthy. It's just, you're going to get hurt emotionally. If you try to do that, you're going to get physically hurt if you go from a completely untrained state, sitting on the couch all day, to trying to run a marathon. So similarly, it's a step-by-step process, but the real message here is that it is something that can be trained, and rather than something that becomes exhausted and is a finite resource, your willpower is a muscle. It's an asset that you can start to build upon, so that actually, let's say that you do wake up early and you do go to the gym in the morning, then when it comes to make it the next decision, you actually have momentum behind you. You have that much more ability to say, you know what, I want to keep this going. I want to make the right decision. And those little things compound, compounding interest, I think Einstein said, is like it's the eighth wonder of the world or something like that. And it doesn't just apply to money, it applies to your decisions. I mean, every single day you're making decisions that compound and have follow the decision tree ad infinitum, right? And eventually one tiny little adjustment makes for a huge difference. It's like if you're hitting a golf ball, or not that I hate golf, or if you're shooting a gun, one tiny little difference in the actual trajectory at impact is going to make a difference of maybe 30 yards laterally down the range, down the range. So the same way, each little thing adds up, right? And so I don't want people to, I don't want to hear people's excuses about, oh, well, I did XYZ earlier, so now I'm going to do something bad. It's not to say you can never do anything that you enjoy. In fact, as I talk about in my book, it is not meant to be a manifesto of deprivation. I want people to enjoy things. I want people to have a good time and enjoy their life. But you can't let yourself be, ruled by whatever the mainstream narrative is, right? Because there unfortunately is an agenda there, whether people want to admit it or not. There are agendas built in to the mainstream narrative. And then also, you can't let your little decisions just let you off the hook. If you say, like, one thing you see a lot is people that go to the gym, as an example, they go to the gym and then they're like, well, I'm going to reward myself because I, worked out. And it's like, okay, so you're going to basically defeat the entire purpose, of what you just did. Like, get with the program. I just think that it's a kind of juvenile attitude, and that people who are truly breaking through barriers, crushing their goals, et cetera, these are people that don't let themselves off the hook. They don't buy into the willpower myth, and give themselves an out, where they can just say, oh, well, I did a little bit, and so I'm just gonna stop there, and I'm gonna sabotage myself, and I'm gonna nuke my progress because, sorry, willpower is this finite resource. So thank you, Harvard, for your continued contributions to the scientific community. But when it comes to studies about willpower, or when it comes to how we're going to live our lives, we're not going to do that based on an academic report. That's handing over your agency. And instead, I want people to own their agency, play like a champion, and sleep like a baby. So see you in the next one.